Good afternoon, Brain Warriors. So I had a lot of you writing in and saying that you wanted more information on the decision making because you're not making good decisions. So I wanted to just touch on that. I'm going to jump right in to this decision making strategy. What happens when you say you're going to do something repeatedly, you have a plan to do it, and then you don't? Why do you not do it like repeatedly when you tell yourself you're going to do it, right? So there's a couple of reasons. I mean, this is really fun for me. There's many things you can do to actually change your behavior, to develop new strategies, but I'm just going to give you a couple quick tips right now. Something that's worked with me working with other people in the past. So this is a real example. I'm going to use an example. I think that stories often help. Patient that we had in the clinic. So she was having trouble. She just couldn't get her program together. And she would go shopping, she'd buy the food, she could get the food part down pretty well, but then she was not doing the exercise. She just could not get her habits down to get the exercise right. She would tell herself she was going to do it, she would get her gym clothes ready the night before, and then she wouldn't do it. And so I kept asking her, so I sat down with her, I said, so tell me what's going on in your head just before you don't do what you say you're gonna do. If you're doing this repeatedly, there's gotta be something going on in your head. Why are you not doing what you say you're going to do? You know, keeping commitments to yourself is probably the most the most important commitment you can keep. And it was really interesting. She said, you know, I have a list of things I tell myself. I'm too busy. I don't feel like it. I don't have the energy. I've got too many other things to do. And so I thought about it for a second and I said, well, tell me something you're really good at. Like, what's another thing that you do every day? What's a habit or like a routine thing that you do every single day that you're really good at, that you know you do really well? And she thought about it and she's like, well, being a mom, like anything to do with being a mom. Anyway, so I talked to her about what she does well. So she wasn't doing exercise well. So it's like, well, what are you doing well? Because there are things you're doing well, right? When people tell me they're not motivated, I actually heard Anthony Robbins say this one time and it made so much sense to me. He said, tell me what you're doing in a day and I will tell you what your motivation is. To say you're not motivated doesn't make sense, right? If you're sitting on the couch all day eating a bag of chips and watching the game, that's what you're motivated to do. The question is, how do you get yourself motivated to do something else that you want to do, but you just haven't figured out the strategy to do yet? So I asked her what she was really good at. And she said anything to do with being a mom. She loved being a mom. And so as soon as I asked her that question, she just lit up. Like, she got all excited and she lit up and she said, I love being a mom. I feel like I was like put on the planet to be a mom. I'm good at it. It gives me joy. I said, so tell me what you hear. Like, when you get up in the morning, what do you hear in your head when you're like going to go, you know, downstairs early in the morning and make breakfast? I mean, a lot of people are like, I have to get up right now. She's like, oh no. She's like, when I get up, it's like, I'm getting up. I know that this is something I'm doing to keep my kids healthy. Like, it's, you know, it's like my job. And she said, and then she stopped and she goes, but my kids aren't that healthy. She goes, they're like adopting my bad habits. She goes, in fact, they're kind of overweight. And you could see she got really sad all of a sudden. And I said, so what's the conflict? And she said, well, I do everything I can to be a good mom, but she said, I'm treating my kids with food. And she said, she goes, this is the first time I've really thought about it. I give them treats for everything they do right, and now they're gaining weight. And I'm like, oh, well, that's good to notice. So that's a really good thing you just noticed. So she said, but I said, let's get back on track with what you do well. So she said, okay. So she said, I get really excited. Like, I can't wait to pick them up from school. I hear all about their day. I love their games. And so I said, what are you hearing in your head when that happens? And she said, I hear their giggling. I hear their laughter. I hear them telling me I'm the best mom. You know, all of these things that I hear that just make me happy. And I said, so what are you feeling? She said, I feel joy. And so she's hearing, she's feeling, and she said she could see their faces, like giggling and smiling and just happiness. And so she's very clear. She knows what she hears, she knows what she feels, and she knows what she sees. I said, so now tell me about exercise. Changed radically. Like, her whole state just changed. And she's like, I just am busy. I'm busy. I don't have time. I have other things to do. I'd rather be taking care of my kids. So it was really interesting shift. And I said, so what are you feeling? She goes, you know, I don't really feel much. I just need to get done what I need to get done. And I said, what are you seeing? She said, I don't really see much either. And so she wasn't really taking the time to see to see what would happen if she didn't exercise. She wasn't taking the time to feel how she would feel after she got done exercising. And she wasn't using that same strategy that she does with her kids. Does that make sense? She wasn't attaching positive feelings. And it's pretty interesting. Human beings will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. So they'll do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. And if you don't believe that, it's sort of I'm going to be very careful how I say this in case you've got kids watching, but it's a crude analogy, but just think of a man in an intimate moment. If someone were to come in and threaten his life or hold a weapon, to his head, he would stop what he was doing instantly. People will do more to avoid pain than to gain pleasure. But we don't want you using negative motivators if we can avoid it. They're very helpful. They're very useful sometimes in motivating you. But if we can get you to attach positive feelings, that would be better. And then maybe just use the negative motivators, last resort. But a little anxiety is not a bad thing, but we all want joy in our lives, right? So if you can become more conscious, you can move away from just those negative motivators, which also can release some stress chemicals, and you can move towards some positive motivators as well. So we worked on that a little bit, and I said, okay, so now let's think about it. So what if we could use that same strategy with your kids? And so what if you could, feel those same feelings with your kids? And so I used what she said, that she was feeling bad about her kids being overweight. And so I said, what if you started to exercise with your kids a couple times a week? And all of a sudden she sort of shifted, and she's like, well, I do spend a lot of time with them anyways. I'm like, so what if you went for a hike or a bike ride or anything like that? Would that work? And she said, maybe it would. So interesting. She came back. We saw her a couple weeks later, and she couldn't wait to report. She had gone for a hike with her kids, and she said it was amazing. She said, we were exhausted when we were done. Everybody was so happy. She said, I felt fulfilled. I felt joy, all the things I normally feel, only better, because now I felt like I was treating my kids with something healthy, something happy, something that was going to make them stronger. And I said, interesting, what did you feel? She said, I could feel the wind. I could, feel, the joy. I could feel, and she described what she could feel. I said, what did you see? She said, kids running around and laughing, and I could see the sunshine. And I said, and so what did you hear? She said, the giggling. And she said, she said, the whole day was really great. And I said, so could you transfer some of those feelings to your normal exercise routine? If you're not going to take your kids hiking every day, could you transfer some of those feelings? Could you think about it before you exercise? Could we use some of those strategies that you used with your exercise? And so we thought about it, and she sort of thought about how she could do that. And she's like, yeah, because I am a better mom. She said, I realized I felt so much better. I did have joy. I had more energy. I was better at taking care of them. And so she said, if I can just attach that and stop and think about how I will feel, how I will see them differently, how they will see me, and I can stop and really feel it and think about 10 minutes after the workout, how good it feels 10 minutes afterwards, as opposed to, I just don't have time, or I don't feel like it today, or I don't have energy. And so we went through that. We really thought about those strategies and think about it 10 minutes afterwards. And so, on a personal note, just myself with exercise, working out gives me such a high. It's therapy for me. Like, it feels so good. I can't imagine not doing it. But I also have a little bit of a negative motivator, because I get anxious when I don't work out. I don't feel good, and I'm downright grumpy, and other people don't like it when I don't work out either. So I've got both. Like, I move towards the joy, but I'm definitely moving away from the pain as well. And we helped her do that same thing, and we used those feelings that she has with her kids to attach that feeling. And then she started working out more with her kids, and I got the most amazing testimonial from her. So this is several months later, and she actually took one of my classes. But several months later, she wrote in, and she had lost 70 pounds. Her kids were healthier and doing better in school. And she was so excited because she said, I realized that the greatest treat I can give my kids is to have a healthy mom. And it was such a breakthrough for her that she now attached that to her reason for exercising, because it made her a better mom. It made her a better wife. She said she felt sexier. Her husband was, really happy to see the changes in her. He loved her anyways, but it's always really nice, right? It's nice when your husband tells you you're sexy. So, when you can just make that shift, take the thing that you do well, take the thing you're not doing so well. What is the strategy you're using with the thing you're doing well? And let's pay attention to what you're doing with the thing you're not doing well. Chances are you're not doing the same strategies with both of them. We can go a lot deeper into all of this, but I just want to put that out there because sometimes it's not that hard if you can actually just take the time to look at it. What are you doing? What are you not doing? You know, are you focusing so much on the pain of something that you're not getting the joy out of it? And so I just want you to think about that. And I would love for you guys to write in and tell me what you're struggling with. Is this working for you? Does this help at all? You know, it's going to take a little work. Write it down, try it out. But it's kind of a cool strategy if you can use it. And I want to just see what some of you are saying. So let's see. Encourage the kids to help. Yes, I agree. Encourage the kids to help out. No doubt. Let's see. Japan. Oh, I love that. Someone's watching from Japan. So been on the last 3 weeks now, feeling so much energy. See? So when people tell me that, people ask me, because we have a crazy schedule. I mean, our lives are pretty crazy. And they'll ask me, well, how do you have time to work out and do everything you do? And quite honestly, it's very simple in my mind. I don't have time not to, because I don't feel well. I get sick more often. I'm not as productive. I have brain fog. I mean, the list is endless, and I just feel anxious when I don't work out. So I don't have time not to. And if you can shift that thinking around to think that way, then you will work out more. If you don't have time not to, you're going to work out more, right? Also, I want you to think of it this way. Work out smarter, not harder. There's a big myth, you know, that we have to work out an hour and a half to 2 hours a day. You don't have to work out that much if you're doing it right. So if you're doing the right kind of exercise, you know, very targeted and very intense, and doesn't always have to be intense, but you're doing the right kind of exercise, you can do less and get more out of it. Too much exercise is actually not good for you. So it doesn't have to be a drag. Find something you love. So this is more about strategies for doing anything, whether it's, you know, your healthy food or whatever it is. It's not so much about exercise, but I just wanted to put that out there because a lot of you struggle with the exercise piece, probably more than anything. So let's see, what else do we have? Can you make sure that your mom eats healthy? Why is it so hard for you to take as good a care as you're one of those. So why is it so hard for you to take as good a care of yourself as it is for you to take care of other people? Yeah. Because women tend to do that. We tend to be in the sandwich generation. We're taking care of kids. We're taking care of parents. I'm going to be really brutally honest right now. I'm just going to be brutally honest. Who's going to take care of your kids and your mom if you're not here to do it? Who's going to take care of them if you get sick? Okay, I know that's brutal. I know that that sounds mean, but that's reality. If you get sick, who's going to do it? So that's a strong motivation. Now that's a negative motivator. I just want you to think about that for a minute. But it's reality. That is reality. So one of the things I always think of is, you know, I've got a daughter and I don't ever want to be sick again, and I don't want her going through what I go through. It's one of the reasons that I'm a warrior for my health. So my values are very clear: God, health, family. And some people are surprised that my family comes after my health. And it's very clear to me that it has to. After having cancer 3 times, having, you know, my gallbladder removed, having this laundry list of things that have gone wrong in the past with, you know, my health. If my health doesn't come first, I can't take care of my family. I can't be the best mom and I can't be the best wife. So you have to figure out how to do that work. But no one's going to take as good a care of your mom as you do. Have a great day.